there's a lot happening in Washington, D.C., especially in the recent weeks we've had here. Lawmakers have been busy with an impeachment votes for the Homeland Security Secretary, border security, and meetings with Boeing and the FAA.
And here to talk more about these topics is Congressman Rick Larsen. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Thanks for being with us again. So the House narrowly voted to impeach Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas on Tuesday. What are your thoughts on what happened there?
Yeah, the House did vote to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary. Now it goes to the Senate in the process for what the Senate calls a trial, what the Constitution requires. I don't expect that he will be convicted of the impeachment. I think that the way to think about this is that, all right, so this happened, and is the border more secure? Have we solved the immigration problem? Have we done anything to address the real concerns that people in the United States have about the border between U.S. and Mexico? And the short answer to that is no, it did not solve a thing. We need to recognize in Congress real concerns about the border. And recently this week, two Democrats, Greg Stanton from Arizona and Salud Carbajal from California, put out a border security and immigration framework that I think, hopefully we can build on that to actually address the problems and concerns that people have, because the impeachment vote was basically a show trial and got us nowhere moving forward on immigration and border security.
I was just going to mention that actually, Rep. Larsen, by any metric, the southern border is really not in great order right now. So can you talk some more about that reform bill that you just talked about? Can you just expand on that a little bit more?
Yeah, first, a couple of things. There are folks who say they want to shut down the border. Well, keep in mind that Mexico is now our #1 trading partner. And so shutting down the border totally is just not a real option for the United States. However, the president did say in response to the border security debate that was taking place in the Senate, if given the authority to shut down immigration at the border in order to get better control over that, he would do that. And I think that as well, we need to do a better job at processing folks legally through the asylum process and the immigration process. We need to invest better into the Golden Triangle, which is down in Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala. Invest in those countries so that they are doing better at enforcing their own laws, protecting their own people, instead of those folks being so fearful that they are racing to the United States. So it really is going to take a comprehensive approach, but we do.
Seems like we might have lost the congressman there. Hoping that, there we go. Sorry about that. We had your microphone drop out for a little bit there. I wanted to also ask you about air travel, which has been top of mind for a lot of people. You're the ranking member of the House Transportation Committee. Earlier this month, you were part of that hearing with the FAA administrator about recent manufacturing issues at Boeing, including that situation with the door plug that fell off of that Alaska Airlines flight that blew out mid-flight. What did you learn from that hearing, and is there any chance that Boeing's CEO will end up under oath about all this?
Well, first off, the FAA acted swiftly and very strongly in response to the door coming off of the Alaska 1282 flight. And in a bipartisan letter I signed along with the chair of the full committee, Sam Graves from Missouri, who's been a great partner in a lot of ways on a lot of issues. We co-signed this letter commending the FAA for its swift action, including its decision to put FAA inspectors on the production line, as well as to do a full audit of the manufacturing process to ensure that's in compliance with the permission that the FAA gives to Boeing to build these airplanes and any airplanes. And so that's important because the FAA needs to know that the political power in Congress is behind the agency to do the tough things. I've let Boeing know that I won't defend the indefensible. They've got to get their house in order, and the women and men who work on the line at the 737 plant need to know that their leadership is behind them as well. With regards to potentially having the Boeing leadership, whether it's Dave Calhoun or anyone else, testify before Congress in the House, I don't control that. But I'm not looking for, frankly, show trials or circuses in front of the U.S. House of Representatives. We need to, if we have a hearing with anybody, that hearing has to be in the context of, can we get something done that makes airplane travel safer in this country? That's my criteria in determining who ought to testify before the U.S. House of Representatives.
Everybody just wants to feel safe, right, when flying on those planes. Something on the minds of many people here at home. You recently released that District 2 report about the opioid epidemic. What were your key takeaways, and what is the path forward?
Yeah, I thought it was important to do a level set post-pandemic about where we were in fighting opioids and fentanyl in particular in the Second Congressional District, which is my district, basically Snohomish County north of the Canadian border. And a couple things. One is we need to regain the momentum we have that we had fighting opioids that we had before the pandemic. Second is that we have the tools in place to do that. The tools that the laws that we passed in early 2016 and before the pandemic are there already. Dollars are there as well. So the tools exist. And the third thing I think we found is that it has to be comprehensive. It's interdiction, giving law enforcement tools that they need. It's treatment, it's recovery, and it's prevention. And I think the fourth important thing is we have to include the tribes, local tribal communities. In my district are being especially hard hit. They don't have access to as many tools as non-tribal law enforcement, and we need to recognize the role that they play and support them in their role too.
Congressman, always appreciate the conversation. Thanks for your time today.
It's my pleasure.
You know, all of them have a tough job, and it's as we're talking about with him right before we came on the air. You know, it can get pretty contentious at times when, you know, you're dealing with some really big issues, especially in a very high-profile year that we're seeing this year with the presidential election coming up in November. And, you know, I think the American people just want to see things get done, as we were just talking about issues in terms of opioid use, to the border, to transportation, that sort of thing. These all impact people's daily lives, and they just want to see some action by Congress. And it sort of seems like these days we're not getting a lot.
Yeah.
But I know that there's a lot of folks that are trying to see some progress on some of those big issues, for sure.
Well said. They want to see things get done, and hopefully maybe even see some change too.
That's right.